Joining me now is Pennsylvania Congressman Keith Rothfus. He serves on the House Judiciary Committee and the House Committee on Financial Services. Great to see you, Congressman. Thank you for being here.
David, good to be here with you tonight. And again, very troubling that the Department of Justice and FBI are again dragging their feet. I was just reading your report today.
It was the last time you were here, the same thing happened. I mean, this has to stop, right?
Well, I'm just reading a report today about new memos that are being reviewed, and there's a memo in October of 2016 where Strzok is emailing somebody and saying vis-a-vis McCabe and having McCabe review the FISA warrant and hurry the F up. You know, what is going on? And why are they waiting forever to produce these documents? We have a legitimate, responsible oversight of the executive branch, and they've been dragging their feet. The Inspector General, who put his 500-page report, Horowitz put out his report about several weeks ago, we're producing texts that we never saw, things like Peter Strzok, again, Peter Strzok, always Peter Strzok, saying that we will stop him, referring to President Trump, or then candidate Trump, in August 2016.
So how do you make Rosenstein responsible, accountable to what's going on?
Well, I'd like to see what they have produced today. I'm sure the committee is taking a look at that. When we get back to Washington early next week, we're going to have to see what the scope of their compliance has been. And then you have to look at things like holding them in contempt. You cannot continue to flaunt the people's representatives in the United States Congress.
Well, I'm just reading. Forgive me for turning away from the camera. I'm going to have to do that as I read an email from our own Catherine Herridge, who's just reporting this as we speak, that the Department of Justice spokesperson, Sarah Flores, declined to answer Fox's questions, including allegations on the recently provided records were not enough to satisfy the House. Clearly, you're not satisfied. So, again, the question is, specifically, what do you threaten Rod Rosenstein with if he doesn't produce what you've asked for?
I think you start with looking at a contempt proceeding. Again, we have a legitimate inquiry out there. They have been dragging their feet for months. These documents that they're being reviewed, again, I'm just reading a report today about these emails from the FBI and Department of Justice that we should have known about months ago. And you look at that text message, again, the one I highlighted that we found out about in the Inspector General's report. Again, why are they trickling out these documents? What is going on inside the Department of Justice, inside the FBI? This is happening at the top levels. I know many good people who are on frontline attorneys, frontline agents in the FBI, in U.S. Attorney's Office across the country doing their job, protecting this country. Right. And it's unfortunate that you have folks at the headquarters who have not been cooperative with the United States Congress.
It looks like what Rosenstein is interested in is protecting the deep state in the FBI and the DOJ. I mean, that's what he is protecting, because he's not releasing documents that you have to get from the Inspector General.
And, well, there's certainly a pattern there. Look at the redactions that we had to have uncovered just a couple months ago with respect to the House Intelligence Committee report, where they were redacting things that weren't trying to protect confidential sources or methods, but things that made the FBI not look too good. This has to stop, and this is very frustrating that these agencies continue to flaunt the representatives of the American people.
Well, one thing that you are doing is continuing with your hearings to try to get to the bottom of the Russia matter. You've got a very important hearing next Thursday. Is Peter Strzok going to be attending?
That's being worked out right now. He's certainly looking forward to his testimony. He has been subpoenaed. Conversations are having, as I understand it, conversations are ongoing between Mr. Strzok's attorneys and the committee. And so I hope that he will come before and start to answer some of the questions we have.
What do you do if he's a no-show?
Again, you have to take one step at a time. And if he's a no-show, we have to have some process that's going to bring him in.
Now, he was at a closed-door hearing last week. What was he like at that hearing? What was his demeanor? I know you can't be specific about what he said, but how did he say it? Because we've heard some interesting reports.
Well, you know, I just popped it a couple times to see what was going on, and he was responding to the questions that were being asked. I think there are a lot of questions that need to be followed up on. Some of the answers, again, we have a responsibility, I think, to have a hearing with him there, and he can respond to what was going on during that deposition.
Now, we have heard some reports, to be specific, that he had kind of a flippant manner, that he was laughing off a lot of questions rather than answering them directly. Can you be more specific about that?
I'm looking for him to come before the committee and start to answer some of the very difficult questions that need to be answered about his conduct during both the email investigation and during the investigation of Russian collusion.
By the way, next week is going to be a very important week for your Judiciary Committee in several ways, not only with your work with Peter Strzok, but you're also going to be dealing with, or at least contemplating, the new Supreme Court justice pick. Can you tell us anything about that? Do you have a particular favorite among those who've been mentioned?
Well, there are a number of, everybody that has been mentioned is of very high quality. There are a couple that have attracted my attention, one being one of my constituents, Tom Hardiman, here in Western Pennsylvania.
We like Tom Hardiman.
Last time. And I'm a Notre Dame law grad. I know Tom went to Notre Dame undergrad. It'd be great to have somebody from Notre Dame represented on that court.
He's actually my favorite, I have to tell you, just because he does have a sense of the Midwest. He's not that kind of inside the Beltway guy like Brett Kavanaugh, who is displeased a number of conservatives, including Ted Cruz, who said he wouldn't vote for him. Do you feel the same?
I would like to, and again, I don't know where Judge Kavanaugh went to law school. It would be nice if we had somebody beyond Harvard or Yale represented on the court, or Stanford. There are good law schools out there, Notre Dame being one of them. And although Tom went to Georgetown, I think, Georgetown Law School. But again, we're looking forward to the president's pick on Monday night, and we'll have some news then. Well,
and please let us know what happens with Peter Strzok. Whatever you can tell us, we'll be very interested. Please come back and see us again. Keith Rothfus, thank you so much for coming in tonight. Appreciate it.
Good talking with you tonight.
Good talking with you.